Wow, this is cool. Why can't I get all of these stations on my radio?
Yeah, you're trying an HD radio receiver. It's all your local AM and FM stations plus additional channels. And it's all subscription-free with an HD radio receiver.
Oh, sweet. Is this the only one you have?
Nope. Here at Best Buy, we carry HD radio receivers from Alpine, Pioneer, Kenwood, and Sony. Would you like to see some others?
Sure, I'd love to.
HD radio technology, available at Best Buy. Learn more at hdradio.com.
WSGZ exclusive bangers.
Hello, this is Dre.
How you doing, Dre Baldwin? This is WSGZ Radio. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Fine, fine. It's been a little hectic this afternoon with the phone lines.
Yeah, see.
Definitely, man. Live on the air with Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay Baldwin. For basketball training to the internet, leveraging that into name brands and businesses. As a professional athlete, Dre began publishing workout and motivational messages to YouTube in 2006 and started posting contact dating in 2009. He now has 4,000 plus videos on YouTube, have been viewed over 30 million times by 100,000 subscribers. Like to welcome Dre Baldwin. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the introduction.
You're welcome. How did you get into making YouTube videos?
Well, the reason that I started making videos on YouTube actually was back in the early 2000s, we used to have what I know you know, but maybe many of you listeners may not know, we used to have what we call VHS tapes. I know you remember them.
Yes.
And I had a video of myself playing basketball at what we call an exposure camp for athletes coming out of college. I wanted to play professional sports, and in order to get that job, I needed to go to basically the basketball version of a job fair. For those who don't understand, you go to an exposure camp, and you basically, instead of handing out your resume wearing a suit, you put on your basketball gear and you play basketball. So I went to that exposure camp. I played really well there, and I took that video, which was on a VHS tape. I got it transferred to CD, and I put it on YouTube just because I'm on the place the state keep the video. So it really wasn't for anybody else to look at. It was really just for me. I just wanted to have it so when I'm 80 years old and I'm telling my grandkids that I used to be good at ball, they might not believe me, so I needed somewhere that I could have it so I could know how to shoot it. So once I put that video up on YouTube, about a month later, I just happened to go look and check on it, and I saw that there were a whole bunch of people leaving comments on the video. They were like, wow, who did you play for? Where'd you play at? Who taught you? How do you do this? How do you do that? They started asking me questions. So from there, I just went up the energy of the fans, and I just made another video, then another one, and whatever they were asking me to do. I just kept making videos, just running off the energy of the people who were looking at the stuff, and it just kind of fed off of itself. So that's how I got started on YouTube.
Oh, wow, incredible. If I remember, jog my memory, in Lithuania.
Lithuania, that was my first playing job, yes.
Yes, I remember years back seeing them games, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the Lithuania team actually beat the United States one time or two in international competition. They came close once, almost beat us one year, but they did this big off, like, on a last second shot that they missed that would have beat the USA. But then a couple years later, they did actually beat the USA in international competition.
Definitely. I remember reading an article in 2012 that you was the best player alive. Definitely. But what do you see as the biggest challenge for young developing athletes these days?
The biggest challenge for young developing athletes, number one, is that a lot of them that is easy. They don't really understand, especially coming from the United States, that perspective. A lot of them think that it's easy. They look at players who come from outside of our country and they think that is, that is the slang that we speak and they think it's sweet. That's kind of like what we say. It basically means they think it's easy because where they come from or who they know or what their background is, they think when they play against somebody who's from Europe, a country like Spain or Lithuania, or someone who's not from the United States or from the environment they come from, they think that picking up on everything, and they started actually practicing and training off of what they saw us doing, and they were actually beating us at our own game. We had to start taking it seriously. That was at the pro level, but a lot of young players, they haven't had that realization yet. And a lot of times in life, I found sometimes people just got to take a loss. They got to take a behind kicking before they really understand that they got to take what they're doing a little bit more seriously. And the other thing I would say for young athletes coming up is the mental side of the game. It's not really the physical, because once you get to a certain level at any sport, everybody is good with the physical skills, the actual abilities, the tangible abilities, but it's the intangibles, the mental side, the way you approach the game, how you think about certain situations, because the exact same situation can happen to two different people, but they can look at it completely different ways. And if you really think about it, it's just the way that you look at every situation that happens to you that determines what you do next. And what you do determines who you end up in life. That's all based on the way that you see yourself from what you see your situation.
I totally agree. Live on the air with DreAllDay, Dre Baldwin. What does work on your game mean?
Work on your game is a phrase that, and is an idea that can apply to any area of life, not just athletic. Work on your game, in a nutshell, means that you have to take whatever craft that you're involved in, and aside from having the resources, with being that trainer, being that being information, that being a YouTube video, that being some program that you bought, that being the people that you know or who's going to help you or not help you. Every single person has to take 100% responsibility for their results. Now, whether those are good results or bad results, you have to take responsibility for them. And then from that point, once you take responsibility, you take ownership, you have to say, okay, it's my job to make this better or to take it further or to keep it going based on however you feel about that situation. So working your game basically means take responsibility, know that you're responsible for where you are or where you aren't, and keep putting in the work if you want to have that success. Because ultimately, when you're off, done with whatever it is that you're doing, the only thing that's going to matter is what you achieved. Not what you said, not what anybody did or didn't do for you, but what you achieved. That's the only thing people are going to remember.
I like that phrase, work on your game. How you come up with that phrase?
Just from responding to questions that people were asking me on YouTube, I came up with work on your game from that, because I would be on, like I said, when I started with YouTube posting the videos, I started to get a whole lot of questions of people asking me, hey, Dre, can you give me some tips or give me some advice on how to get better at basketball? That seemed to be like the basic question I was getting every single day. Dre, can you give me some tips on how to dribble the basketball? Can you give me tips on how to jump higher? Can you give me some advice on how to make the basketball team? Really basic questions. And what I was saying to them was, listen, y'all are coming on YouTube and you're looking at me to be the key to your success, and that's not it. Even though I have the information, I have these achievements that you want to get to. I've been where you want to go. That doesn't mean I'm the person that's going to be responsible for your success. If you want to be successful, you got to get off the internet. You got to put down the PlayStation. You got to turn off the TV, and you got to go work on your game. And when I first said it, I wasn't even trying to coin a phrase. I was just telling the truth, what I was really thinking. And when I said that one video, a lot of people just went off that comment. They're like, wow, I like what you said there, Dre. Work on your game. A lot of people need to take that and not just put it from there.
What makes you unique when there are so many athletes out there?
Well, first of all, as far as on the internet, when it comes to putting basketball content on the internet, there was no one putting basketball or motivational content on the internet before me. Absolutely nobody in video format. So that was before the NBA, that was before ESPN, that was before if you go on YouTube and you just search the word basketball, whoever you see, none of them was doing it before I was doing it. Number two, none of them have done it as much as I've done it. I've published over 4,000 videos on YouTube. There is no one who is even close to me as far as an individual when it comes to the amount of content I put out. And number three, is one thing when somebody can come on the internet and publish things, because when I'm publishing on the internet a lot of stuff, I'll be in the gym by myself working out. I might be dribbling around an orange cone or a folding chair, and I can look like the superstar, the next Michael Jordan. One thing when you can do it by yourself, this is the thing when you can actually play basketball in real life on a real level. And I play basketball at a professional level, so we can, like I say, offensive players, if we can put the cameras away, I'm just as good without the camera separates me from any other basketball guy out there. And as far as athletes in general, I can't speak on every sport because I don't pay that much attention to what every athlete, every sport is doing. But when it comes to an athlete being able to take the fact that one of the things that drove me to build my brand the way that I did was that I wasn't getting the contracts every single year. There were some years I was able to get a professional playing contract. Some years that I was not able to get that contract. And those years when I couldn't, I said, I need to do something that gives me a little bit more control, a little bit more power over my situation. So let me expand on this brand. Let me build my brand because I control that. I own it. I have 100% say over what goes on with it. And now when you see athletes branding themselves and talking about building their brands and doing all these other things outside of actually playing their sport, I was one of the first athletes to be doing that. And especially one of the first to do it, whereas, for example, if you look at a Kobe Bryant, he comes from being known from playing his team sport, and then he built his brand outside of that. I had to build my brand first, and then get the success from the team sport. So I came from not being in the room, whereas somebody like Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan, they're already in the room. I wasn't chosen to be in the room, but I was able to build my own building, so to speak, in order to build the brand. So a lot of athletes have followed in those footsteps. Beautiful thing to do.
I totally agree. You definitely got to build your brand regardless. How do you feel about the basketball space online these days?
The basketball space online these days, I think it's extremely crowded. There are a whole lot of people out there putting out content as far as playing basketball goes. There are a lot of basketball guys publishing videos, like doing drills and talking about whatever it is their background is. But a lot of those guys, in my opinion, a lot of them can't play. Because when there's a chance for people to step forward and actually show that they can actually play in a real basketball game, a lot of those guys you don't hear from them. And I could say it's an opinion, but it's actually a fact. Because when there's a chance, there's a tournament actually going on this very weekend where there's a whole lot of money on the line. It's free to get in, and none of those guys you see on the internet posting basketball videos, none of them are at this tournament. I'm at it. I knew about it, but none of them were there. It's not like the internet stopped working, so I don't even compare myself to those guys. But just to answer your question,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. I respect where you're coming from. Yes, like in a radio aspect, like we could, promote online, do it online. We definitely need to be out in the field too, so we could promote our brand. I have several more questions, Mr. Baldwin. Who or what was your inspiration to become a professional in basketball?
It wasn't any particular person. I just knew that probably by around the age of 16, 17, my junior year of high school, I knew that basketball is what I wanted to do for a living. But the thing was, I had no idea how I was going to do it, where I was going to do it at, who was going to help me. I didn't even know what I needed to do to get there. But the problem was actually their solution at the same time, because I knew that's exactly what I wanted to do. And when someone has a strong enough want, a strong enough reason to do something, they'll figure out the how, the why, and all the mechanics of it. I didn't know what the mechanics were, but I knew exactly what it is that I wanted. What happens with a lot of people these days, especially young athletes, is that they know all the mechanics. They know all the how, not the how, but they know the what. They know how to do this move, that move, and they know all these detailed things. But then when I ask them, what is it that you want? What is your goal? What are you actually aiming for? What's your purpose? They can't answer the question. So they have it back. So the first step is to figure out what it is that you want and why you want it. Once you figure that out, you'll figure the what and the mechanics and the details out as you go along. A lot of times I see people who are waiting to have everything perfectly lined up. They're waiting for the starters to align before they take action. If you wait for that, you're going to be waiting for the rest of your life.
I completely agree. Who came up with the name DreAllDay?
I did. I knew back like in the early 2000s, probably more than 10 years ago, that I wanted to have a website named after me. So with the name Dre Baldwin, I was thinking, of course, like DreAllDay.com. But that doesn't actually ring off the tongue. Like I do actually own that domain name, but it doesn't ring off the tongue. If I tell somebody DreBaldwin.com, you're not going to remember that. But if I say DreAllDay, you're going to remember it because it rhymes. People are like, oh, okay, DreAllDay. It makes sense. It sounds right. And people get it. Like, they're like, okay, who Dre all day to you on the train, you don't write it down, you still might remember it the next day. But if I say Dre Baldwin, you're going to get that. But just a way, just something that I knew people would remember.
I see here that, you have a lot of experience, especially 9+ years in YouTube marketing. What's next for you? What would you want to accomplish for the future?
What I want to do for the future, I want to keep expanding on my brand. With basketball, I'm closer to the end of my playing days than I am to the beginning of it. So one thing that I want to segue in is professional speaking, especially speaking to different groups. One being the youth out there, especially the minority youth. There's a lot of youth out there who don't have a strong male figure in their lives they can look to for just some guidance, somebody they can look to who's a positive influence when they don't know what's going to happen next in their lives. They don't know what's going to happen the next day, maybe even where their next deal is coming from next week. They have a strong male influence they can look to, someone who's positive, who they can relate to, and I think I can step in that space. Also, in another space, as far as the marketing and branding areas, there are a lot of business owners out there who have great businesses and great ideas, but they have no idea how to get their name in front of the people who they want to get money from, their customer base. They don't know how to make themselves stand out in their marketplace. That's one of the things that I help people with, either on a one-on-one, hands-on basis, or also as a speaker, where I speak at a certain conference or an event, or even do online webinars and programs, so people can learn how to actually market and brand themselves.
Yeah, I see that you do keynote speaking in the areas of the branding triangle, WECS, the buyers are here, time to make the donuts. I see you have a lot of great topics. Would you like to touch on 4 to 5 of them topics?
Sure. One of the topics that you mentioned is WESC. That basically stands for, these days when we're talking about branding yourself on the internet, especially when it comes to video marketing, being that my background started on YouTube. Those letters stand for W is for watch, which means people are going to watch the content that you put out. A lot of days people don't read, even though I think reading is great. I've actually written books. A lot of people just don't read, so they want to watch a video. So if you can make a video and that'll get across a certain segment of the population who aren't going to read anything that you write, no matter how great it is, then you got to do that. You got to go to where your consumers are instead of complaining about their actions. Second one is engage. People like what they're seeing when you put your stuff out. They're going to engage with it, which means they'll leave a comment, let you know what they think about it. On the internet, people will be a little bit more honest than they'll be when they're looking at you in your face. The third one is share. People like the content you put out and they're engaging with it. They're going to share it with their friends. Like, hey, check out this video. Check out this guy, DreAllDay. He has some stuff to say. And the third one is convert. Because, of course, if you're putting all this effort and energy into marketing and branding yourself, you want to convert those viewers into fans. You want to convert those fans into actual paying customers. And if you have something that people want, you'll be able to convert them into paying customers for the rest of your life.
I apologize. Go right ahead.
One of the other topics that you said, time to make the donuts, that you touched on.
Yeah.
That basically is talking about the topic of consistency. So when I give my keynote speech that I tend to work on your game, one of the keynote speeches that I do, it's about being consistent. And time to make the donuts actually goes back to an old Dunkin' Donuts commercial. I don't know if people remember it. But it's like the guy will pick up his alarm off at 5 in the morning. He rolls out of bed. He just mumbles to himself, time to make the donuts. And it's like, he knew he had to go to work every day. And the purpose of the commercial was Dunkin' Donuts just saying to people, listen, you know, guaranteed at 5 a.m. every single morning, if you find a Dunkin' Donuts, the light's going to be on, the door's going to be unlocked, the coffee's brewing, and the donuts are ready. That's consistency. People have to know what they're going to get from you, when they're going to get it, and how they can get it every single day. And any business person, even in radio, in sports, no matter what type of business you have, everybody appreciates someone they work with who they know exactly what to expect from them every single day. That's consistency. And that's what time to make the donuts is about.
All right. Definitely. Live on the air with DreAllDay, Dre Baldwin. And another question, how very important is self-discipline when it comes to branding in basketball?
When it comes to branding in basketball, it's a good question because it's actually kind of a new thing. Like a lot of athletes, if you look back in the last 10 to 20 years, for the most part, athletes just paid attention to just playing their sport. Now, they might have had endorsement deals where a company will come to them and say, hey, do a Michael Jordan, hey, do this Hanes underwear commercial. We're going to write you a check. And cool, Michael Jordan do the commercial, he gets a check, you get paid. And the company gets that, the friction of having that celebrity person on their commercial. But nowadays, you have athletes trying to brand themselves. So they have their own companies outside of their sport. They have brand managers. They have agents who do a whole lot of things other than just simple endorsement deals. The athletes have their own companies. They have their own fashion line, clothing line. They're doing it with social media. That didn't exist. I mean, even 10 years ago, social media wasn't social media. So there's a lot of new stuff happening these days, and I'm one of the pioneers of teaching not just athletes, but just people in general, how they can brand themselves, how they can brand their products, and how they can brand their businesses. For athletes, I think athletes have to be careful towing the line, because you don't want to put so much emphasis into your brand that you forget about what got you there in the first place, which is your ability to play your sport. And if you don't focus on being able to play your sport, that whole gravy train is going to stop, because what got you known is the fact that you're good on the field. If you're not good on the field no more, nobody's going to care about your brand.
I totally agree. Was playing basketball always your goal growing up?
It was, I knew I was playing sport. I started out playing football, and coming from the inner city, my family couldn't really afford football equipment. So I switched from football to baseball. I played baseball for a good 5-6 years, but then I realized I didn't really have much talent in baseball. And then I moved on to basketball probably around age 14, but I always knew that I probably would be known for playing a sport.
Do you have any role models?
Role models? Well, I have to say, of course, my parents. I don't look at them as role models, because then, like, I try to copy what they do. But as a child, when you grow up watching your parents, you might not necessarily do everything that they say, but you do what they do. So my self-discipline comes from watching my parents every day getting up, going to work, from the discipline that they instilled in us, me and my sister and I. Make sure you get things done, do your schoolwork, do your chores at home. You know, the same stuff that a lot of parents tell their kids. My parents were very strict on it, and they were very consistent on it. And once I grew into an adult, once I get a chance to step back and look at the way that I conduct myself, I see a lot of myself. I see a lot of my parents in myself. Even though they never sat me down and told me, hey, this is what we're doing, this is how you need to be, I modeled it because that's the only thing that I saw every single day. So I would say they are strong role models because of that, the example that they set.
Where was the most interesting place you traveled as a player?
It's a great question. I would have to say, it surprised a lot of people when I say this, but I say Mexico.
Okay.
Even though Mexico is a third world country, you know, our money is worth almost more than 10 times what their money is worth. But the people there, here's the thing about Mexico. When I was in Mexico every single day, I had no idea what to expect over the next 24 hours. Let's just put it that way. Never knew what was going to happen next in Mexico, on the court or off the court.
Are you destroying or building?
I'm always building. I'm always looking to build. Every time I put my fingers on the keyboard to write a blog post or write an email or respond to a message on Facebook, I'm looking to build somebody. I'm looking to give somebody something that they otherwise couldn't get from somebody else. Every time I make a video, the same thing. Every time I get on a phone call or interview like this one, I'm looking to give somebody something that they otherwise couldn't get from anybody else or otherwise didn't have before they heard me speak or read what I had to say.
What advice can you give to our younger generation that want to get into sports and music, into photography, any type of career?
Number one, you got to work on your game. You have to actually have some skills. So it's one thing when you can get yourself known and you can come up with something on the internet or your marketing and branding strategies to get people to know your name. But if you have those skills, people are not going to pay attention to you long. You have to actually be able to perform. You can't hide behind a brand. You can't hide behind a social media platform. You can't hide behind an agency or a team or another person. You have to actually have the goods to deliver when it's time for you to step forward and deliver. So that's the number one thing that every young person needs to focus on. Because with no skill, all the other stuff won't matter.
Thank you very, very much. For the new listeners and the future subscribers, how can they see your videos and your website?
If you want to see my videos, go to youtube.com and type in my name, which is Dre, that's D-R-E, that's name, Baldwin. My website, my personal website is DreAllDay.com. You can learn all about me, get all my information, my background as an athlete. You can also contact me directly through there. On social media, my Facebook page, you can just again search Dre Baldwin. You'll see my Facebook page, which is Facebook.com/work on your game. My Twitter is DreAllDay. Instagram is Dre Baldwin. And all this stuff is easy to find. If you just Google Dre Baldwin, you'll see every single thing I just.
No doubt, man. We appreciate your time. Would you like to give any shout-outs?
I want to give a shout out to all my people in Philadelphia, my whole family in Philly, because I live in Miami, but I'm visiting Philly this weekend, so I'm seeing a lot of friends and family that I haven't seen in a long time. Team WOYG was playing in the $1 million basketball tournament this weekend.
Oh, definitely. 15 in York. They little park out there. They be having it live over there.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that. I know all about the New York basketball thing.
No. 15 in York in North Philly.
Oh, North Philly. Oh, I thought you said New York. 15 New York. Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, man. When I lived out there, I moved out there maybe 10 years ago. And they had a lot of basketball summer events right there.
Yeah. Philly basketball in the street, like rec league, the pickup and summer leagues is really huge. They love it up there. But anywhere in the Northeast, DC, New York, Philly.
Yeah, definitely, man. You you have a great afternoon. Thank you for calling in. Definitely be in contact with you.
All right, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
No doubt, man. Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
All right.
WSGZ exclusive bangers.